How's it going, everybody? It is good to see you. It's your boy, Milkman, coming to you live with another podcast, or the first podcast, I guess. It's just me today, just trying it out. We'll post this probably and just see what you guys think. And the topic of the day, the Phoenix Suns. Currently, the Phoenix Suns sit in the 11th spot in the West, currently just behind the Mavericks by quote-unquote 1.5 games. The Mavericks have one more win. The Suns have one more loss. So basically one full game, just depending on how the Mavericks do. But not looking great for the Suns. Honestly, it's been kind of diabolical how bad they've been this year. For being honest, it's been pretty bad, and it kind of sucks because of the expectations we had for the Suns this year. And again, this is the first one, so we'll cover a lot of the season in general. It won't be too terribly long though. But one of those where it's just been sad to watch the Suns. I think one of the biggest problems right now that people are debating between is if it really is a Kevin Durant problem. Obviously, what's crazy to think is that the Suns were, possibly optioning away KD at the trade deadline. Obviously, that gets out. You have some problems after that. Got some things you have to deal with. But it's kind of crazy to think that that's the spot that we're at. I can't believe that we're even in this realm of thought. I mean, you were supposed to be a top 3-4 seed this year. And they've just been utterly bad. And it's no way to sugarcoat it. There's no way else to talk about it. They know it. They talk about it on the team as well. And people just coming out and have not been great for the Suns. Kevin Durant, leading scorer, kind of doing exactly what we need him to do. You can kind of blame this on people have been blaming it on coaching. People have been blaming it on players. It's kind of difficult to pinpoint the problem when you just have a team that doesn't play well. When everything's going well, when we were 8-1 at the beginning of the season, obviously no one was upset about how the season was going. We're all real happy, be like, wow, we're gonna be very good. Obviously, when you're losing, the opposite is true too. And it's interesting to just see what the Suns do here at the end. I think they'll make the play-in. The Kings and the Mavericks are both sliding. The Clippers should probably still be into the play-in at least. But I think the Blazers will miss the playoffs. The Suns will make it, and the Mavs will be the only team that gets bounced from the play-in. So make the play-in, sorry. And honestly, the Suns against the Kings, I think it's a good matchup for them. It's not the Kings are sliding, obviously, because of the trade of De'Aaron Fox. Obviously, they got Zach LaVine and a couple other pieces, DeMar and stuff. But at the end of the day, it doesn't hit the same. It just doesn't hit the same as De'Aaron Fox on that team. So one of those where I think they're in a spot where they're going to continue to just slide just because of the switch of the team more than anything. I think the talent on the Kings is fine. They got pretty old, to be fair, though. I do think they're in a weird spot where they got pretty old. But DeMar's still cooking. Zach still can yam. He had a bad game against the Suns. So that's why again, I'm also high on the Suns playing the first play-in game against the Kings. I think they could obviously get home court advantage as well, which would be huge for the Suns. But when it comes to the playoffs, if you're the 8th seed, if you get in as that 8th seed winning the 2 play-in games and you're playing OKC, I'm going to say as a fan of the Suns, I still think they could figure it out just because of the way they've played in that Raptors game when they went kind of big. Cody Martin coming out as, it looks like a solid rotation player, if not a starter for the Suns, and rotating him out with Ryan Dunn, I think is kind of what we're going to see from the rest of the season. Ryan Dunn rotating in for Cody going out for Ryan Dunn coming in, and I think that's going to be something we see the whole season. A lot of effort from those two guys. Oso's been playing well, getting tons of minutes. Obviously, Plumlee getting tossed from 2 of the last 4 games or 5 games, and Nick Richards was hurt, so Oso was the only center we really had. We could go kind of big with other people, but obviously, we don't have defenders to play. We don't have defenders to play defense, period. But when Cody Martin's on the court, it looks like he's playing good defense. When Ryan Dunn's on the court, he cannot score very well. Granted, he played well against the Raptors. It's the Raptors. Take it with a grain of salt. Won by 40, which is wild. Biggest win for the Suns the entire season. Biggest lead of the Suns for the Suns the entire season was 30, by the way, 32 or something like that against the Raptors. Kind of crazy when you think about the amount of bad teams they've played and the amount of bad teams they've lost to. Portland being up there. And yes, I do call them a bad team. The Suns have also been a bad team. Doesn't mean you can't flip it around, though. But honestly, when it comes down to it, I think the Suns' chances against the Thunder are slim. But if there's one thing we've seen from the Thunder, they don't have a ton of experience. They have been disgusting in the regular season. They give me Cleveland Cavalier vibes, which is the same thing with the Cavs. They just don't move me, which I'm probably gonna get hate on this episode from people who are gonna talk shit about it. I haven't watched a ton of Cleveland games. I haven't watched a ton of OKC games. I see people trying to convince me that Shea should be the MVP when Jokic is top 5 in every single stat that you can be getting recorded. So one of those where I stuff like that, where like that team is disgusting, and he is a great defender. Shea is a great defender. Jokic obviously is just, I just think Jokic is probably the best player in the world right now. And it's crazy to think that. Again, kind of trailing off into another thing, but the international talent, obviously from Shea as well, is pretty astonishing. Pretty astonishing when you look at the amount of talent coming out of the U.S. When it comes to basketball in many sports, honestly, at this point. Football's got a decent amount of guys who are pretty good now. Obviously, NHL, hockey, and then MLB, obviously, for all those sports have just been continuing to grow and grow, which is cool to see and cool to be in that realm. But besides the point, OKC versus the Suns, I think it goes 5. I don't think the Suns win very quickly if they got it, and I don't think they'll win in general. I think they're, with the way the team is playing currently, if they went on some crazy run, I think you could see the Suns making could make a run if they figure out what they're doing defensively. Again, that game against the Raptors, they held them to under 90, which is pretty astonishing in the NBA today. And it wasn't just the Raptors missing shots. Like, it was blocks, steals, and, equal amount of turnovers for the Suns, and it led to a 40-point win. So, which granted, again, more of a 30-point win. Monte Morris came in and had 4 threes in 6 minutes, I think, and went 4 for 4 from 3. So obviously kind of, again, different. It was more of a 30-point win. Besides the point, though, OKC versus the Suns, I think is just, no one wants to play the Thunder, bro. And again, I haven't watched a ton of Thunder games other than the games they've played against the Suns, and they just dismantle teams. Like, it's 1 through 5, cream of the crop defenders, and then you've got, at least enough offensive power from everybody to, at least enough offense to respect everyone, to have, you got dudes, every dude on the team dropping at least 15. Like, you got 7 dudes dropping 15, 8 dudes dropping 15 without Shea dropping 40. Like, it's a pretty wild team, and just the way they're built, I think it's just, it'd be difficult for anybody to play the Thunder. Again, come late in the playoffs, obviously I don't really know what happens, just because you never know if people are going to get hurt or what. So I can't really say much about the series after. Just looking at the Suns, though, I just think the Suns are in a spot where they're at a loss for words. I mean, they're not terrible at all in any, like, they're not terrible when you look at like terrible teams throughout the league, but they're pretty bad. I mean, there's no part of me that thinks that the Suns have a chance to, move forward, to do much. This is a regressive season. It's bad when you're kind of in this realm and you just can't figure it out. It's not like they've had, injuries and stuff. Like, yes, they've had, which granted, Bradley Beal, I do like Bradley Beal. I will say that I do like Bradley Beal. But when you're he's played, I think, in 47 games. Let's check real quick. I think Bradley, 48 games, but like, he's been out for, 25 games. I don't remember how many games we've played. I don't know if he played 67 or 66 or 68, but he's also left. I don't even know how many games, like, he has 48 games on games played, but he's registered, less than, 30 minutes, 20 minutes on an exceedingly large amount of them. And there was, again, at the end of the day, there was a reason he got put to the bench. Like, he was not producing. He was not doing well. Come the trade deadline and All-Star break, played very well. But one of those where, he's averaging 17 points a game. He's averaging 32 minutes as well. So Book is averaging 5 more minutes than him and is averaging almost 10 more points. KD's pretty close in Book. He's just a few less minutes or he's not even less a minute. It's just, 0.5 less minutes and scoring just under a point more than Book per game. But one of those where, like, you look at Book's stats for the season, he's had some really bad games, but he's averaging 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists a game. KD's averaging 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists a game. Book's averaging a steal a game. KD's averaging a block a game. Like, those are the kind of stats you expect from 50 mil type people. And you got Brad, who's averaging 17, 3 boards, 3 assists, more force, 3.6 assists, than a steal. So, he just hasn't been fantastic on either end. It's not like he's averaging 1.5 steals and a block. It's not like he's averaging, 25 points. If Beal was averaging 25 points, they would win most of these games that they're in. And one of the things that's been a terrible development in the recent, I don't even know, weeks is the free throw shooting. The free throw shooting has been horrific. They lost the Grizzlies game because of it. They lost both Grizzlies games because of it. They almost lost, I forgot which game it was, that Book missed both free throws at the end of the game, and then he fouled on the rebound, and then they made the first free throw. What team was that? Zubac? Was that the whatever game that was? I don't remember which game that was. That he missed both free throws and then fouled on it immediately, bro. Like, it says he's on the Clippers. Was it against the Clippers? Yeah, it was against the Clippers. I don't know why I thought Zubac got traded or he's just on a different team. But Zubac, he fouled. He didn't foul Zubac. He fouled like Russ or whoever it was inbounding the ball. Or not Russ. It was like whoever, Kawhi or whatever. And they made the first free throw and then they were down 2. So they had to get a 2. So they missed on purpose. They get the rebound and they barely missed the shot at the end of the game. And that's all only possible because Book missed 2 free throws. And there was a stretch there where we were missing like 7 free throws a game and we were losing by like 3. And then obviously that Lakers game just before the Raptors game last night was just terrible. It was bad. I couldn't understand what they were doing or just what the plan for the Suns is. But you see more clips of these, which honestly, I'm not in the realm of caring too terribly much about KD talking to Bud. I think KD's just an emotional guy. They're all out there to play ball, and when you're losing when you're losing more than you win in the NBA, it sucks ass, and your emotions are gonna come up. And I don't know why people think that that's weird. KD's obviously always been that guy who's going to voice his opinion when something's wrong, and there's a reason he's one of the best ever, and it's because he's really good at basketball. So, and Bud has so much knowledge. Coach Budenholzer has so much knowledge on basketball that it's tough because you have 2 guys that know so much, and they're obviously going to argue about stuff. That's just the way it works. And what was interesting about the Raptors game is you saw people having fun. I'm not going to lie. I made a comment during the stream about how Booker was smiling on the sideline. And I was like, dude, I don't remember the last time Book was like smiling and we were like winning a game. He's been smiling before on the sideline during timeouts and stuff like that when he gets subbed out, but I haven't seen it a ton when he's taken out of the game because they were on some crazy run and he's tired and he's just smiling because they were up. They're up by 30 when they subbed out guys with like 5 minutes left in the game, 6 minutes left in the game. KD only made 5 shots. He shot 1 3, and they won the game by 40 without Beal. Like, I don't know what they figured out in that Raptors game. They had size, but Cody Martin did well. Oso played insane, to be fair. Oso playing at the top of the 3-point line, outside on the 3-point line, was throwing assists, was driving. Ryan Dunn was driving. And one of those things where I think Ryan Dunn is also in that same realm of Oso, of like, they're having great games. It's just, you look at their shooting percentages and it's, sometimes tough. Or, Oso's young. that game against the Lakers, they had Oso playing ISO defense on Luka Doncic, which is obviously it's never going to work, bro. That type of stuff is the type of thing that you do not do to someone who's never, played against, who's never had ISO defense. Like, yes, he plays against KD and Book in practice, but it's just different in a game. And Luka was hot. Like, I don't know. So certain things like that where obviously Oso's going to get cooked, but at the same time, I think the Suns are, in a realm where it's just these type of things that we're figuring out. Like, oh, Cody Martin's pretty good. I wish Cody Martin wasn't hurt when when we got him. I think it's the same thing with the Oso and with Ryan. Like, we've went so long without seeing Oso and Ryan, and it felt so weird to not see Oso Ighodaro and Ryan Dunn. Like, I didn't really understand what the point was. Bull's the same way. Like, he was on a heater, had a couple bad games, and they were like, yep, take him out. He's not going to get any minutes. So we're doing things that we kind of thought we'd be doing at the beginning of the season, and we were doing them at the beginning of the season too. Let's not get it wrong. Bud was trying out different lineups and stuff like that, and then obviously we acquired some people in the trade, lost Nurkic in a couple in the trade. So one of those where the roster did change, but like, it's also weird that Tyus, who's just been like decently, was doing much better the past couple of games, but was doing very bad, continued to get a start, continued to get to be the point guard. Like, try out Colin. Why weren't we trying out Colin Gillespie? Why weren't we trying out Oso? We sent Oso and Colin to the G League, and it was like, all right, well, that's weird. You don't have another center. And then you got Nick Richards, and then Mason, and then all this stuff with Mason getting thrown out 2 games in a row. Like, I don't really understand what the Suns' plan was, but it feels like again they haven't won back-to-back games since January, like 17th or 2nd. I can't remember what they say. So they are not. In no realm is this game against. Is it against the? Who's it against? The Bucks? Or is the Bucks? No, it's the Cavs, right? I think it's the Cavs. The Cavs are the next game. So the Suns winning a back-to-back game against the Suns. Oh no, it's the Bulls, and then it's the Cavs. They could win back-to-back games if it's the Bulls, but in no realm am I convinced that they can beat the Bulls. Which is terrible. That's terrible. The fact that is a fact is horrific, and I cannot believe that the Suns are in some position where they might not beat the Chicago Bulls. That's crazy. But kind of to wrap up here, again, looking kind of just towards the season, they have the Bulls, then they have the Cavs, then they have the Bucks, Celtics, Timberwolves, Rockets, Bucks again, Celtics again, holy shit, Knicks, Warriors, Thunder, Spurs, Kings to finish the season out. So, I mean, you name those teams. You're playing the Celtics twice, the Bucks twice, the Thunder one more time. You've got Spurs and Kings, which they did just beat the Kings, and they've done a decent job against the Spurs throughout the year. Timberwolves, I mean, it's going to be a big game just, momentum-wise, see if someone can win. We don't know where the Timberwolves will be at, but, the Timberwolves are only a few games ahead of the Suns, too. Timberwolves only 8 games ahead of the Suns. Oh, no, that's Grizzlies. Yeah, 8 games ahead of the Suns. So they start to drop. You never know what that can kind of mean if the Suns start to win. If the Suns rack off, 4 more wins in a row before they get to, which to be fair would be wild. If they won 4 more games in a row though, and the Timberwolves only won 1, you're in a pretty pivotal game there. It's a pretty pivotal game. If you win Bulls, Suns, or Bulls, Cavs, Bucks, Celtics. I mean, if you won those 4 games, you'd be in. The Suns would be starting to be talked about, I think, for 1. And then you would have the Timberwolves, like that'd be the penultimate, or that'd be the Celtics game would be the penultimate game to the Timberwolves because we got swept by them last year. So that's my 2 cents. I appreciate you guys for stopping by the Uncensored Commentary podcast. If you guys haven't already, go follow us, go subscribe, do any of those types of things. We're live for most of the Suns games. Obviously, you guys are seeing the channel if you're here. So make sure you guys drop a sub. Stop by the games when we're doing live commentary. Obviously, I cannot show the games or play the sound, but I can give you commentary. And it's meant to be a supplication for what you're watching, not a substitution. I'm not trying to replace your viewing experience. I'm just trying to be the commentator you listen to instead. Shout out 98.7, everybody, for giving me the momentum to do this. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Shout out Wolf for retiring after I don't even know how long. I've been listening to that man's voice talk about football for so long. But appreciate you guys for stopping by. Hopefully you guys have a good one. Spread love, spread joy. And we shall see y'all in the next one. Peace.